I'm watching Hard Knocks. I know you do the preseason games for the Jets. I need to see a little bit more Iron Eagle. Maybe you have to make more of a little publicity stunt out there to get more airtime on Hard Knocks, Ian.
Yeah, I'm not the guy that counts how many times I was on, how much they use. Just happy to be a part of it, Zach. That's the mentality in life.
Now, let me just throw something past you. If, let's just say, the producers of Hard Knocks come to you and go, Ian, we want you to do ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers on camera, would you do it?
Why do you think it would require the producers to come to me to do that? I might just do that in my everyday life. So.
There's the headline. Awful announcing tomorrow. Ian Eagle says he does ayahuasca every day on CBS Sports Radio. Give us a little feel, though. You've been around the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. From afar, it seems like everything's going great right now.
Yeah, I think it's exceeded expectations on both sides. That Aaron went in thinking, oh, this is going to be different. This is going to be new. It's exciting. And I think he's been blown away by the camaraderie and by the facilities and the vibe and the buzz around New York, New Jersey. Think about just the drastic change in his day-to-day existence going from Green Bay to the tri-state area and the number one media market in the country. And then flip it, I think the Jets thought they were getting a future Hall of Famer and someone that's going to be highly motivated. I'm not sure they realized they were getting someone that was going to unify the team, and not just the offense, the team, the way in which he interacts with everybody. This is something I saw just working that preseason game, how Aaron carried himself, his comportment, and then how everybody was responding to him, no matter who we talked to on the Jets, coaching-wise, player-wise. There really is something pretty special developing. Now, they haven't played a game that counts yet. So we know that this is all wonderful until they're actually keeping score and you're playing the games in earnest. And that's when we're going to see what this team is all about.
So year one expectations, and I know you only have so long of a window here, or short of a window with Rodgers, because he's getting up there in age that everyone could be like Brady and play until they're 45. I said bare minimum they have to get to the AFC title game this year. What is the bare minimum expectation for Ian Eagle when dealing with the Jets?
Well, obviously, they have to stay healthy. Aaron Rodgers has to be upright. That means the offensive line has to be effective. Defensively, they're going to compete throughout the year. They were really good last year. The reason why they were even in a playoff conversation was because their defense led the way, kept them in games, kept them competitive. And then it's a result-oriented business. It's a brutal schedule for the Jets to open up the season. It's lighter in the second half of the year. And this is all on paper. We base the schedule analysis on last year. We have no idea what the teams are going to look like this year. We speculate, conjecture as to who we think is going to be good, who we think is going to struggle. Look, I know in sports, we basically lay it on the line, how it's supposed to be. You need to get to this stage in order for it to be successful. I think ultimately for the Jets, they have to be a playoff team. They have to be a squad that's creating chatter, because this is what they've embraced. They recognize that they were good enough, young enough, talented enough to maybe be in the mix, but they were not going to measure up in one position as currently constituted until they made the deal for Rodgers. This was done with the idea that this could put them over the top. Dalvin Cook, same deal. It's a win now mentality. They're not thinking about 25, 26, 27. It's a 2-year window. And what you mentioned is probably the expectation level that a lot of Jet fans have put forth at this stage.
Ian Eagle here with us, legendary play-by-play man for CBS. You don't like when people refer to you as a legend. I saw that smirk right there when I said it. You just think that's weird, right? I was waiting for somebody else
to come on the show. Yeah. When's the legend showing up?
Oh, well, we did book Noah Eagle for about 30 minutes from now.
There you go.
When we get to the Bills, so they've been a team that everyone was on last year. And now heading into this season, everyone knows the Bills are going to be good, but I don't hear a lot of Super Bowl predictions for the Bills. People starting to doubt them. Do you think that will work in the favor of the Bills this year?
I think it could. I do think maybe flying under the radar a little bit compared to the expectations of the last two seasons might work to their benefit. I think in some way that's how Sean McDermott operates to begin with. The fact that they like the doubt, they like the underdog status. It's not something that they could possibly have visualized the last 2 years because everybody was on them, including yours truly. I thought the Bills were a team that was going to vie for the Super Bowl, and we saw last season they were just a cut below. But Kansas City, Cincinnati, those teams in the AFC seem to get a little bit more juice when talking about Super Bowl squads. Buffalo is still right up there. I think the Chargers are a team that I know you have to sometimes do this in baby steps, and maybe people think they might be skipping a step because of what happened against Jacksonville in the playoffs last year. But I think the Chargers could be lethal, and that's a team that we probably should throw into that mix as well, along with a Jet squad that is going to have to actually prove it on the field. The other teams that we've mentioned have already shown signs. Either they've won it, they've been there, they've been on the brink. The Jets are the only team of all the teams that we just talked about that are yet to show you the body of work that would lead you to believe that they're ready to take the big next step.
Ian Eagle here with us. I just wonder from a broadcasting perspective, like with Tua Tagovailoa, everyone this year says going into the season, he's not going to be able to stay healthy. Usually when everyone says one thing, I go the other way, and you kind of then, for me, just feel that Tua is going to be healthy this entire season. Once you get past like week 3 or week 4, when you're doing a live shot before a Dolphins game, do we stop talking about the concussions until he suffers another one, or is that a storyline all throughout the season whenever you do a Dolphins game?
I mean, you're a natural iconoclast. I've known that about you from way back when in your teen years. So none of this is surprising, and it's what makes you an excellent talk show host.
Yeah, Skip Bayless Gelb just called me. That's what people say these days.
Hot take. I think, Z, what ends up happening with narratives around the NFL, something grows, and it's hard to shed it. It's hard to knock down the walls of perception until you can piece together sustained evidence that it's no longer the case. For Tua, it's hard not to make that part of the story because it has been so public. And I worked the game last year against Cincinnati where he went down. It's hard to shake that visual. It was so dramatic and traumatic, and it really set the NFL into a different level of conversation after what happened and the visuals of that. With that said, you do have to give players the benefit of the doubt. And yes, if I had Miami week 4, week 5, and Tua had a clean bill of health, no issues, no big hits, or no signs of any problems after a big hit, I would tell you going into a broadcast on that first live hit in the open, it would not be a topic of conversation. But I can't speak for everyone, and I recognize that when you're looking for clicks and when you're looking to create interest, that is a subject that would. And by the way, maintaining his health is important. Let's not dismiss that fact. Making sure that everybody is vigilant in determining he is in tip-top shape, and there are no questions in regards to him based on what's happened in the past.
Let me get to your week 1 game, Ian Eagle. You have Bengals and Browns on CBS. Yep. If the press release was right, that's what I see Ian Eagle has for week 1 in 2023. Correct. I'll start you off with the Bengals. You look at that team, there's no reason why they shouldn't be in the Super Bowl this year. And the best part about the Bengals, I know they got humbled in the AFC Championship game a little bit. They've been the team that's given Kansas City the appeal of at least looking vulnerable, which we know was almost impossible to do.
I think they're starting to create a little bit of an aura, and I think that comes from their quarterback. There is a jolt of confidence in that locker room because they know they have Joe Burrow. And if Joe Burrow's healthy, they're going to be in games. They're going to be highly competitive. He's going to be savvy. he's going to make things happen. Even when they're down, we saw that last year a number of times, their ability to come back. And then we saw later in the season, their ability to lead and maintain and knock teams out early, which to me is the sign of a team that's really figuring out their identity. And this could be the year for Cincinnati where they put it all together and they not only see themselves as that group, but everybody around the league sees them as one of those teams. That division is really interesting with Lamar Jackson, maybe a little bit refreshed and a new voice in the offensive coordinator position. Let's see how Baltimore handles their business. Pittsburgh, really interesting that they've gone completely under the radar. If Kenny Pickett is the real deal in year 2, the Steelers are going to be really good. And even if he's not, we know that they're going to be in games, and Mike Tomlin always finds a way to finish over 500. So we can't count them out. And then Cleveland, and I know you're going to them next, I think it's a mixed bag. If Deshaun Watson is truly back from the best version that we saw of him in Houston, we have no idea if that's going to happen, can happen. He does have a full training camp, preseason reps, everything that's taken place with him behind the scenes. You have to imagine it has had an effect on the team and certainly on many people's lives in the Houston community. That's not a simple thing to overcome and just say, I'm going to compartmentalize and we're back, baby. We got to see it. We got to see it over time and see if he can be among the elite quarterbacks in the NFL once again, because what we saw last year was not that player.
Yeah, and, this time of the year, I know we put people on the hot seat. If Watson does not play well this year, and we got to see how much rust there still is to knock off. Yeah, the scapegoat there is going to be Kevin Stefanski. Like everyone knows that heading into this season, and I'm curious what their start looks like up against a Super Bowl team in the Bengals week 1. That's a big statement for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and I think, Zach, if you look back over time, week 1, you do get some unpredictable outcomes.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast. Some teams are better prepared. Some teams had a better camp. Some teams got more valuable and efficient reps in during their preseason, during their intra-squad scrimmages that they've done, which have become really important, as we know, in the NFL to get some true reps. In a way, even more important than the preseason games where we're just seeing, for the most part, second, third teamers. They don't cut down the roster. So now they're allowing guys to continue into the preseason deeper. And that means, that final preseason game, every coach is going to have a different perspective on how to handle it. We kind of knew how it was when it was 4 preseason games. They would ease in. By that third game, you might see the starters for a half. And then the fourth game, it got to the point where coaches were playing nobody. Now it's 3 games, and you've got to be really smart and prudent in how you divvy it up. And I do think these scrimmages have replaced, in many ways, the reps that coaches and talent evaluators are looking for when it's ones against ones. And it's literally 50 plays. They're running a bunch of plays in these scrimmages to really dot the I's and cross the T's and feel like they're getting legitimate prep in.
If I had to put the number at 100%, Iron Eagle, where do you fall that Tom Brady is actually done and you won't be broadcasting a game of his at some point this year?
Man, I would be shocked. But you know what? Tom Brady has shocked us before, winning a Super Bowl at the age that he did, going to a new team and somehow making it feel smooth. And that was, to me, as triumphant as anything that he's done based on the circumstances, the questions. Could he win without the Pats? Could he win without Belichick? He answered all those, albeit during one of the most bizarre years in football history. But yeah, we were crowning a champion and someone was going to win it. And it just happened to be Brady. My sense is he's not, but we know what happens in this league. Bizarre things take place and a job opens up with a perfect team or a coach or a
49ers.
system.
I'll just throw the team out there for you.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. And look at the 49ers setup right now. Brock Purdy was lightning in a bottle last year. We have no idea if he can replicate that. It's not a guarantee by any stretch. Look at their depth chart, whether it's Lance, whether it's Darnold. They're a team that believes they're ready to win the Super Bowl. And it's that position that's probably going to dictate whether or not they do. They are good enough in every other area of their 53-man roster. So if it gets to that stage, hey, we heard Kyle Shanahan was ready to bring Phillip Rivers on in 1 week's time. Yes, you're right. That could be a phone call where Tom Brady says, yeah, I'm staying in good shape. Why not? Let's give it a whirl here.
Last thing I'll ask you, Ian Eagle. I'm looking at your set right now on Zoom. They have it blasted on one of these big screen TVs in the studio. Yeah. What are the bobbleheads that you got right above your shoulder?
Oh, right. These right here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Mike Emmerich and Daniel Snyder. No, that's not.
At first, I'm like, oh, Doc Emmerich, that's a great one. And then it's like Daniel Snyder. I go, okay, Ian Eagle. Interesting.
No. That was a
Is that
a
Wally
fan.
Zerbiak?
A fan sent me and Noah. That's me and Noah. There you go.
I'll
me and
tell
my
you,
son.
The bobbleheads are not as good as they look in person. I think you and Noah look a lot better in person than that bobblehead.
Well, I just put it in the background. That's the first close-up shot that this bobblehead has ever gotten. You give them sound effects too?
Yeah. We hear the whole thing now.